Welcome to the Knightline Podcast, your source for UCF football and former UCF player information. All right, welcome, Knight Nation. This is Andrew Phegley. This is episode number 10 of the UCF Knightline Podcast, and to my left over here,
sitting by him all 10 episodes, this is Troy Ondrizek.
Yeah, can you believe it? 10 episodes. That's kind of crazy. That's a milestone for us.
I'm impressed that we've been this committed for this long.
That's true. It is true, and especially doing it weekly. I'm glad that there are listeners out there for sure. I'm so glad that you guys listen to us talk and banter about sometimes nothing. That's cool though. I did see some really nice comments that were on the iTunes feed. You know, people rated it and commented. That's absolutely awesome. If you guys would do that for
Stitcher.
Sorry, Stitcher.
It kind of rhymes.
Yeah, it does. YouTube especially, like and subscribe. Any of the other things, if you're able to leave a comment for us, please do that. I would greatly appreciate it.
We would like you to do that, so I guess it gives us some validity for doing this. I'm just joking.
No,
we appreciate anyone who listens.
It's true, for sure. Validity is nice. Okay, so I think what we're going to start off with today is running down the American scores for this week. We'll talk about a couple of those games. We're also, of course, going to have NFL, CFL news right now as we speak. We're doing this at about 4 o'clock on a Sunday.
So we're kind of watching Blake and the Jaguars, or UCF North, play the same time we're doing this. So if we lose a little focus or if we cheer, well, you're probably cheering right along with us, but at home.
Right. So, yeah. So this will be out, of course, after that game, so we won't really be able to report on that. But I guess that could lead us into just a little bit of news. Of course, most of you know this. If you're following this, you have to be following that Blake is playing for the Jaguars now and is actually starting today for the first time. And so I'm not sure where they're at right now. They were moving the ball there. They were coming out of the end zone, it looked like. But we'll get into the American scores for this week. So,
all right, talk about it. Our conference looks like it sucks, man.
It does. It looks really bad.
I mean, it's hard
honestly,
to argue against SMU being the worst team in FBS.
I think actually the Kansas Jayhawks, which I am a huge Kansas person because that's my alma mater. I think the Kansas Jayhawks are the absolute worst.
They fired Charlie Weiss.
I know, and that's, it's. I wish, to be honest with you, that he would have had a better run because
he sucked at Notre Dame.
He did.
He sucked worse at Kansas.
I know.
And the only reason why he got decent recruits because it was Notre Dame. You're not going to be able to have that happen to you at Kansas. So, you know what? You're lucky. You're lucky you've moved to Orlando and you have a program like UCF to follow now.
I know.
Lucky your fiance is a UCF alum and is able to bring you into this because what you left is as bad as our entire conference just about.
Yeah. I wish that he would have had a little bit better of a deal there and would have been able to turn that program around. We haven't been decent since the fat man, Mark Mangino.
And Charlie Weiss is fat enough himself. Maybe SMU will hire him to further tank their program. They got money.
Honestly, speaking of SMU and speaking of that right there, I was trying to think of who possibly could be the coach for Kansas, and I would not rule out June Jones being in there.
June Jones was born when Taft was president. He's got a nice home in Hawaii. That dude's going to retire. You don't need June Jones in Kansas.
Yeah, I don't know.
I mean, he wasn't able to get some talented guys to SMU with a ton of financial backing.
I can guarantee you there's more of a ton of financial backing at the University of Kansas.
You're absolutely right.
SMU these days.
For their basketball program.
Yeah, there's quite a bit for football. A lot more than actually was there when I was there, for sure.
Well,
there's tons more.
It's a university now.
Right, okay.
They have electricity.
All right, so here we go.
All right, TCU 56, SMU didn't even show up on the scoreboard.
Did
it
they
would have
even
been better if they didn't show up for the game.
Yeah, were they even there? I heard speaking of not being there, I heard the USF cheerleaders were not able to make the game in Wisconsin this week because their flight got canceled for some reason.
Well, that whole situation with that guy trying to commit suicide by setting himself and his coworkers on fire in Chicago kind of ruined that whole scenario. What they did miss was
a complete shellacking.
Well, no, okay. Yesterday I'm sitting there with a couple of my friends watching my beloved Tottenham Hotspurs play in the Arsenal Antichrist, and it's 0-0 at half, and I look up. Oh, no. It's Tottenham went up 1-0, cheering crazy. Look up at the TV next to me, and I see it's 3-3 at the half, Wisconsin and USF.
Yeah. They actually stuck with him for a little while.
How the hell did that happen?
I don't know. It's, like we do at UCF as well, we sometimes play up to our competition, sometimes play down to our competition. So,
well, they threw the ball a few more times and then just ground them down in the second half for a nice little 27-10 victory.
Yeah.
They didn't have any turnovers, USF, and that's what kept them in the game. But Wisconsin just finally just overpowered them and took them down.
All right, let's go back to TCU SMU. So SMU, basically what we were saying, didn't show up at all.
Do they want us to continue talking about them?
Well, I don't know. I interrupted there. When you were speaking of SMU not showing up at all,
it was a natural segue into the glory of USF losing yet again.
Yeah. It didn't seem like a lot of the teams in the American showed up this week.
Tulane and Rutgers.
Yeah.
Upset alert, not quite. Tulane had 3 different quarterbacks. A couple of them looked decent. A few turnovers. Rutgers just overpowered them. Tulane replaced Rutgers in the Big East / American, and
now we know why.
Well, that's not why they're. It looks like we definitely got the short end of the deal.
Well, of course
I've said multiple times Tulane's going to be a better team down the road. New on-campus stadium, which look what it did for UCF.
I've thought that would be a good road trip maybe next year.
It'll be an excellent road trip.
New Orleans,
some talented young players, but that's not going well for them now.
No, it's not.
And then what about the ECU, Cincinnati, UCF, the flagship?
Yeah, Cincinnati didn't do too well at Ohio State. 50-28.
As I was saying, the flagship programs of the American, and we go to a Ohio State team that is missing Braxton Miller, and they're better coached with Urban Meyer. And Tommy Tuberville's not a bad coach.
No, absolutely not. And that's not a bad team. So I don't know.
Fourth play from scrimmage, long touchdown. Cincinnati runs up. Gunnar Keel's got an arm.
Absolutely.
And who's that wide receiver? Moore. He caught 3 balls all day.
Yeah.
For 3 touchdowns and 221 yards.
Wow. Yeah, that's crazy.
Though we miss playing them again. Keel is a sophomore, so we're going to see them down the road. And
I don't think we'll get past playing them next year.
We better not. We need to play in Cincinnati. These type of games need to happen for our conference to become nationally recognized as a. Right now, we're not even the best of the G5.
Yeah, I think we've fallen back into obscurity again. To be honest with you, and we need to do something quick. We need to either go to Houston and put up 50 points and hold them to 3 points, or
that would be a great victory. But all of our games are within a touchdown.
I know.
They're all close games. They're all dramatic. We've only had 1 loss against Houston.
And dramatic was good last year when we were,
four plays from within the 10-yard line, and we're able to hold them, including them dropping the game-winning touchdown from the kid who talked a bunch of trash this week. And I'm sure we'll get to that.
We'll talk about that a little bit later. So what else? Texas State and Tulsa.
Lord. Tulsa lost to Texas State. What's Texas State's claim to fame?
I got nothing.
All right. They're the only public university that has a United States president as an alum.
Really?
Yeah.
LBJ. Only public. Oh, wow. That's interesting.
Lyndon Baines Johnson.
Huh.
Past that, they're the bad Bobcats.
Yeah.
And yet triple overtime. And it took a fourth quarter comeback for Tulsa to even force overtime.
That's kind of crazy.
And their only win is over Tulane, who collapsed to have Tulsa beat them. And then Tulane's only win is over an FCS team. And
yeah, we already talked about USF Wisconsin. Now, the bottom of the American here was kind of a little bit of a game. Temple and Connecticut.
Not the bottom, because, an American team actually got a victory.
Yeah, that's true.
And it was kind of close for the first half. I had the fortunate/unfortunate pleasure of watching this game. P.J. Walker, the quarterback for Temple, finally figured out, hey, I'm a quarterback in the third quarter, and they dropped like 23 points on him. They came out and stomped him in the second half. But the first half, it was bad play versus bad play. Whitmer, UConn keeps using 2 quarterbacks and sometimes tossing the third. They finally got the one guy in there. He did okay. They're a bad football team. And, it's just going to be for a long time because when you lose and barely beat Stony Brook, that line of thinking that we can't overcome, or when you try to coach and you don't see the results on the field, UConn and SMU, man, they're looking terrible.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad that we get to play both of those teams, I believe.
Those are a couple wins. We better win.
Hopefully. If we don't, we're going to look really bad. I think, with Penn State getting beat this week as well. But
Mizzou at least went in and beat South Carolina.
Go in and beat South Carolina, so that does us a little bit of good. I still hate that we lost that Penn State game when they play sometimes as bad as they play.
We're always going to hate losing that game.
Yeah, this is the first time we really ever saw them play bad this year. But it was definitely bad.
That was a closer game than the score indicates. Memphis and Ole Miss.
It absolutely was, and I was going to say, did I get this score correct on here? Is that right? 24-3? Because I did actually get to see some of that game.
It was 10-3 going into the fourth.
I didn't realize that it was that bad. The score was. It wasn't that bad of a game.
No, it wasn't. Memphis was in there. Paxton Lynch just didn't have any luck. They tried to run the ball over and over again. And they averaged less than 2 yards per carry. I don't know what the play calling was, but they took the ball out of Lynch's hands, who's clearly the best offensive player.
Blake looks good out there playing, doesn't he? Isn't that awesome? God, I love it. I absolutely love it. I'm sorry. We were both like staring at the screen watching the Jaguars game.
I can multitask, though. I could talk about the Memphis Ole Miss game.
Well, it's behind me, so I can't. I have to kind of look the opposite direction to see it. But
Andrews had ADD before they even knew ADD existed.
Absolutely. They were giving me Ritalin, if I only knew back in the day. All right, so that pretty much does it with our American recap.
We need a new conference.
Yeah, we do.
But we need to prove that we can win in this conference this season.
We do. And then hopefully, we can get to the Big 12. That's really where I would like to be. So,
same here. I think for logistics, flying, everything like that, it's not a bad conference for us. Texas is old and stubborn and would probably rather leave the conference than to expand. And had FSU lost, it actually would have been a terrible thing for UCF, because the best thing we can hope for is a Big 12 school getting left out of the playoffs to force expansion. There was an article recently by a site I had never heard of, like Best Damn Sports News, which was that, that one show on TV.
Yeah.
I don't know if they...
Damn Sports Show or something like that.
Decided to go online or have a spin-off of it, but talking about how UCF will be playing in the Big 12 in 2016. It also needed grammar editing.
Well, to be honest with you, one of the things that intrigues me the most about the Big 12 is that I know a lot about all those teams because that was that's been my focus for a long time. So, and I would, love to see us play some of those teams and have those teams come to UCF.
It'd be a blast to play some of those teams.
I think I might at one point if they play Kansas. I might have to get one of those split jerseys.
Oh, don't do it. Don't do it. They'll kick you right of our section. No one will ever listen to us again. If you swear loyalty to Kansas.
Well, that's my alma mater, but I love UCF. Absolutely.
I have like 4 alma maters, but the only one I cheer for is UCF. Though I do follow Chattanooga from time to time because we're terrible in everything we do up there.
They have a football team?
Yeah, FCS in the Southern Conference. They play like Furman and Appalachian State.
So speaking of Blake Bortles, who we're watching on the TV right behind us, he's in there. I haven't seen.
Oh, keen eye. He's in
I haven't seen Blake. Storm Johnson yet, unless that's not him.
That's Denard Robinson running for a first down.
Yeah. So this week or last week actually in the NFL. Of course, you heard us talk about Blake Bortles getting his first, true playing time.
2 touchdowns, 2 picks, a pick six, 200-plus yards in one half a play.
In one half a play. He had quite the good. He was 14 for 24 for 223 yards, 2 touchdowns, and, of course, 2 interceptions.
He gives this fan base hope.
He does. And he ran 2 times for 30 yards. So
hope.
Yeah.
That's something they haven't had in more than a decade.
Speaking of hope and Blake Bortles and Jacksonville, I would like to say that one of the first interviews that I wanted to hear was what Chad Henne had to say after Blake came in. I wanted to hear his interview, and I know a lot of other people wanted to hear. The dude is a total 100% stand-up guy. He handled the situation very well, and I think he is a huge cheerleader now for Blake on the sideline, and a huge help anyway because he is a little bit of a veteran.
A little bit of one?
Yeah. I mean, he hadn't been around for too long. I mean, he's not, Steve DeBerg.
He's been around for wow, a DeBerg reference. I'm actually impressed. He's been around so long. Michigan was good Steve when Henne played for them.
DeBerg is one of my favorite NFL players ever because he was in the Kansas City Chiefs, and
Didn't he finish with the Falcons?
Probably
the Saints. One of those two.
He probably finished with 3 or 4 teams. But anyway, I've got some clips here that I want to play, and the first one is Chad Henne after the Indianapolis game, and then we got a couple more.
The biggest thing was that Gus talked about. We talked about it this week, and didn't think it would be this soon, but we talked about it, and I think it's more comforting that we did talk about it and knew where he was coming from. And the biggest thing for me is, just keep my head held high and try to be the captain that I was voted to be for this year and help Blake out as much as I can, and really try to help this offense grow.
Do you feel like this is his job moving forward?
Oh, absolutely. He was drafted for this moment, and I understood it from day one. And, we had to do some really good things at the beginning of the year to keep my job. And, I hope he plays really well. And I'm really pulling for him, and I'm going to be his biggest cheerleader on the sideline, I'll tell you that.
Chad, there are some quarterbacks who wouldn't handle a change like this as well. What makes you different?
Well,
respect.
Maybe that I've been through it, but it's more that I just realized I kind of just step back and see the whole picture. From day one, when you have a 3rd overall pick sitting behind you, sometime you're going to have that guy play. And for me is trying to just, compete each and every play, be accountable out there, and try to do my best out there.
You've taken a lot of heat. You certainly have some excuses if you want them as well. Why do you think you couldn't get this offense going?
Yeah, it's just, I told everybody last week, it's kind of looking yourself in the eye, and, everybody needs to get better individually, and, that's only going to improve as a unit and as a team. We've got a young team, and there's going to be some growing pains. Do I feel like we're going to be a really good team, later down the road? Absolutely. But I don't know when that's going to happen. Could it happen quick? Absolutely. Could it happen like last year? Maybe, but I know we got some talented young guys in this room and some really good leadership in this room that we can be a good team.
What'd you think?
Absolutely. I'm not going to say I'm human, and it's tough to take and tough to swallow because I wanted it so bad and wanted to be a starter for this team, for this organization. And, some things just don't work out, but that's not going to stop me from reaching my goals and, going out there and practicing each and every day so hard and just try to help this defense out, if I'm running the scout team. So I'm going to prepare like I'm a starter each and every day, and nothing's going to change.
What did you see out of Blake in the second half?
Yeah, I thought he did some really good things. Moved the ball well. There was unfortunate, some of the protection broke down. Made some plays out there. Guys, Hearns made a great play on that one, breaking a tackle. Allen Robinson on another couple of plays. But, there's some learning experiences out there that he knows about, and, we'll correct him. But it was a good show.
And then next we're going to get Blake's comments here after the Colts game.
I was told during the week to be ready, and as well as you should be every game and every week as a backup quarterback. So I was prepared, just like I had been the previous games, and you're kind of waiting your turn because you're an ankle away or whatever away from getting your opportunity and making the most out of it. Felt similar to the preseason action that I got, and I think that we did a good job. Coming out in the second half, being down 30-0 or whatever at halftime, and the guys coming out and competing and not giving up. That would have been very easy to give up and lay down and kind of not care. So I thought it was cool to see that from our team, and see those guys compete in the second half. I think my kind of job and my part of it was try and go out there and spark something, do what I could to try and spark a light. So that's what I did. I want to go out there with some enthusiasm, some passion, and try and move the ball and execute the plays that Jed was calling. It was average. I thought there was some good stuff and some bad stuff. There was things to correct. There's definitely things to learn from and get better at. But I thought it was a super average. It's hard. You can't throw 2 picks and a half. That shouldn't happen. Yeah, I wasn't thinking about a whole lot. I was kind of, I thought that this week was as good as the previous 2, and preparing and getting ready with Chad and Jed, and being comfortable with the game plan and everything that was going on, and what we were going to do. So felt really good, and was excited when I got the opportunity, and definitely want to correct some of the mistakes made. Definitely good to get a little game action before you go into the week of practice. Kind of taking it one day at a time, trying to learn from everything, learn from every experience and situation that you get put in, and move on. Not really how our team is. Chad was our starter, and our team was 100% behind him. It's kind of how we operate. There's not a whole lot of, there's no division, within our locker room. So I think our guys and our team is fully behind whoever's playing, and that's the kind of people we have in the locker room. It's been unbelievable. Chad's somebody that has been a really good mentor, somebody that I can sit and watch film with and learn a lot from, watch on the practice field. He's been a good friend outside of football, and I look forward to our relationship to continue in the future.
And then one more clip here, and this is Coach Gus talking about Blake and his game against Indianapolis in the second half.
First of all, I want to just make this point known that Chad Henne, I think, is a first-class individual. I think how he handled this whole situation, and he was in a challenging situation, but how he handled it, I can't tell you how much respect and admiration I have for him as a person, how he's handled this, and truly top-notch. I think to come to this decision was instincts. I think that I felt like in our conversations, my conversations with Chad and Blake, I felt like as the week went on, it felt clear to me that Blake's body of work as far as in practice, mentality, all those things that we were on to challenge him on from OTAs till now, I felt like, it's in pretty good place. It's in a pretty good place. And I just felt like he was ready for his body of work to begin on the field. And, so that's what I told Chad. We'll see when it happens. I don't know if it's this game, but if there's an opportunity that presents itself, he may be doing some good things. But if we feel like we need it as a team, we're going to make the change. And it happened in the second half. So I appreciate Chad. I handle it. Blake, I thought, did a nice job. He's going to learn now. He's going to learn. But he made some plays. He kept plays alive. He's got really good instincts. Made some really good decisions and some good throws. And then some of the throws that you saw, I'm sure he wished he had back. But we'll learn through those. But I just love his mindset. I love the strength that he has. He is tough, hard-nosed, competitor, and he will attack. And, I think and the team felt that part of it. And I think it's no coincidence that all of a sudden we blocked a little bit better, the receivers played a little bit better. And, he has a way to uplift people and uplift a team.
I like how it sounds like Blake's interview was in the middle of a sandstorm.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm not sure why that sounded so bad, but the rest of them weren't quite that bad.
But as for Henne, this speaks to a level of maturity that you just don't find many quote unquote. I'm air quoting here, by the way. Professional athletes. It'd be one of several things. Whether he's just towing the company line and knows what to say, or maybe he's really happy Bortles is in because he's tired of getting blasted by defensive linemen and linebackers, or if he really means it as a grown man that he seems to be, because I've never heard anything contrary to that about Henne. That he accepted his role, he knew what was happening moving forward, and that the production on the field just wasn't there, and it's not entirely his fault. I mean, nobody's blocking for this guy.
It's completely not his fault.
Toby Gerhart is not a number one bell cow running back.
I think you know how I feel about Toby Gerhart. I'm not a fan. Now, Denard Robinson, he is he's flashy and kind of exciting. I mean,
what cracks me up is he's been the best Michigan quarterback since Chad Henne left Michigan.
Yeah, and now he's an NFL running back. Well, maybe Chad Henne should have been a tight end or something. I don't know.
You know, he's not a bad quarterback. He's not a good quarterback. He's an elite backup quarterback.
Yeah. Well, you know, if he had a team that he's one of those guys that could go into like a team that has a great offensive line and probably do really well.
He could
and had
manage the game very well.
a surrounding cast. And that's going to be the same problem for Blake, unfortunately, is the surrounding cast is not great.
No, Chad Henne could go into Kansas City and do what Alex Smith does easy.
I don't think so.
You really think Alex Smith is a better quarterback?
Absolutely. 100%. Yes. I do not agree with
you
that.
You humor me.
No, I'm a Kansas City Chiefs fan, of course, but I think Alex Smith is definitely a better quarterback. So,
yeah, we'll see.
Look at the numbers. Number one.
But you know, another thing here is that Gus actually sat down with Chad and told him what to expect, and this wasn't something that was just sprung on him. You know, that shows the level of maturity as a coach as well, to communicate the expectations.
Oh, absolutely. I think he's a great thing that's happened for Jacksonville. So the rest of our players in the NFL.
I mean, last week or this week?
Last week.
Oh, last week.
We can, if you have some stuff. I don't really. I wasn't able.
Didn't play. He was injured for Houston. Latavius, just did kick returns today. He was averaging 22.5 yards per kick return.
Oh, wow. That's good.
I didn't see what Brandon did for Chicago, and we'll touch on that.
Well, Brandon's been playing hurt. Brandon Marshall, of course. Yeah, he's been playing hurt for the last couple of weeks with an ankle. Last week he only had one reception for 6 yards.
Before he was taken out for his ankle injury.
Right, yeah.
This morning, Bruce Miller was talking about on ESPN about the team, San Francisco starting to play cohesively, to act like the champions that they could be, and to stop making excuses for things.
Yeah, last week A.J. Boye had 3 combined tackles, 1 solo, 2 assisted. What else? Camille Ishmael.
That's just a good story right there.
That was awesome because he had a interception, a pick 6, basically. So
basically,
and I actually
that's exactly what it was.
It was. And I actually have some audio from that, so we'll play that now.
And now it's 3rd and 10. Still looking for a first down of the game. Atlanta already with 10 first downs and a couple of touchdowns. And McCown's pass is picked, and here we go to the end zone for the touchdown. Kamal Ishmael returns it, the pick 6.
That's exciting to hear. I don't care.
Yeah, I'd love to hear a crowd get loud like that.
Yeah, they were excited.
The great thing about Kamal Ishmael is he was a throw-in in the Nico Flores recruiting deal, meaning we were looking for Flores. We took Kamal. Flores was a useless quarterback. Ishmael, leader of our team, leader in tackles, goes into Atlanta, wasn't, quote-unquote, and I'm doing air quotes again, I need to stop that, athletic enough to play the safety position in the NFL. Yeah. Becomes second string due to injuries. Here he is, starting for Atlanta and is making plays. Because that's exactly what he did for us. We expected nothing from him. He did nothing but make plays for UCF, and here he is in the pro level doing the same thing. It's beautiful.
Yeah, it's good to see guys doing stuff like that.
Good to see guys built by UCF doing it on the pro level.
Yeah.
It helps in recruiting as well,
Matt Prater, is he back yet?
He will be next week.
Still in his alcoholic stupor.
Well, he's not allowed to be an alcoholic stupor.
I know, but I'm just joking.
I know. No, he's out.
Josh Robinson recorded 6 tackles for the Minnesota Vikings. And let's see, I think that's about
the wrap up.
It's about everybody who had some stats. There were other guys.
We have a couple
here,
offensive linemen who aren't going to.
Yeah, that aren't really getting stats
Sitton,
there. Ja Reed. Josh Sitton. Latavius Murray had 3 attempts for 1 yard. Although he returned some kickoffs, I'm sure that we don't have the total stats for.
At least he's getting reps. This is a bad Oakland team. They lost to Miami today. Just like Tampa beat Pittsburgh. Anyway,
did they? I didn't see the end of that.
Miami smacked Oakland around. So there's going to be a few change-ups, and Murray is one of the promising young players, one of the few on that team. So we expect it as the season
I think
progresses.
in the next couple of years you're going to see him, and I think he's going to destroy a lot of NFL defenses.
I like Latavius Murray, coming from upstate New York, from, close to stand back. We seem to do well with running backs from up there.
Yep, we do. All right, well, let's do a segment with Kurt's questions.
Oh, it's
here.
Kurt's questions time.
Yep, all right. Here's the audio from that. All right, Knight fans, welcome to this episode of Kurt's Questions, featuring Kurt Searcy. All right, Kurt's question this week is, what are the most important things for the UCF offense and defense to improve upon to get ready for the Houston Cougars?
Wait. Sorry, I lost concentration because I hear that music and I want to play some shuffleboard.
Okay.
Shuffleboard's fun.
We're doing a podcast.
Yeah, but have you played shuffleboard? Mount Dora, downtown Mount Dora, has like 90 shuffleboard courts that I've never seen used once.
Yeah, they do. I've seen those over there.
All right, what was Kurt's question?
Downtown Mount Dora is a beautiful place. Hopefully, maybe we can get Mount Dora to sponsor us, and we can do...
Why the hell would we want Mount Dora to sponsor us?
We want anybody to sponsor us because we need to make some money here.
Well,
we're not making any money.
Are we trying to make money?
No, but that's why I'm asking because Mount Dora right now.
Met me, the one skill I completely lack is making money.
Yeah, well, that's not what it's all about.
Very true.
Obviously, so we continue to do this even though my pockets are going dry.
Oh, we're not spending a ton of money.
Well,
anyways, back...
You're not spending a ton of money. You would be surprised.
Back to William Curtis Searcy's question. What does... the offense, we'll start with that. The easy way out of this question is say we need to work on the offensive line. That's like saying, hey, what's the best way to lose weight? Eat right and exercise?
Yeah. Offensive line is definitely part of it. Obviously, we need our offensive line to play better. But I would say also we need our defensive line to play better.
We know that, but that's on the defensive
side
of the ball.
They're the ones. Well, whatever. I'm just in general.
Fair enough. And you have a good point. I'm going to switch it back to the offense. Yes, we need to work on the offensive line. They need reps. As the season progresses, they're going to get better. But to help them out, and really for this Houston game, we need better offensive play calling. Charlie Taft needs to step his game up. You look like you're going to say something.
You could say that, but... it's been kind of a weird season so far with what Charlie Taft has called. We're kind of seeing a Jekyll and Hyde offense. We're seeing multiple offenses that we've run. The one against, was it Penn State or Missouri, both, where we're trying to do these reverse things constantly. I don't really understand where that...
We need to play to our strengths. Our strength isn't our running game. We need to air the ball out, especially against Houston. You need to get Houston on their heels.
You just said our strength isn't our running game.
It's not our running game.
Oh, okay.
We need to get the ball into our most consistent and talented group of players, and that's our wide receivers. Whether it's quick slant plays, we don't need long developing running plays. We don't need long developing passing plays. We need to do bubble screens, slants. Just get the ball out there. Holman has the arm. He throws a nice deep ball. Let's utilize that. Let's help our running game out. Let's help our offensive linemen so they don't have to block for X amount of time. Get in, do what they need to do, not get worn down, and keep moving. And then the running game will open up because we do so many bloom and draw plays that it's hard to if you're not passing the ball but 13, 14 times a game.
I think the offensive line will come together as well if, personally, we do run the ball a little bit more because they're going to figure out over time, this is still only our fourth game, they are going to figure out the rotation in and out of offensive linemen. They're going to, get stuff together the more and more that they play. And, Stanback last week had his first 100-yard game, his first start as well. I think that can happen more and more once that offensive line starts gelling.
Yes.
They're not gelling.
We need to
at
help
this
them
point.
gel. We need to take some of the pressure off them.
They do.
We need to air the ball out
They're
more.
out there too much. So
it's not that they're out. We need to air the ball more, period. Get the ball into the hands of the receivers and see what's happened. The BCU game is when we finally hit Wharton, his only catch of the game. He turned it around with Yak. 35-yard touchdown, and there we go. There went the momentum. Get the ball in the hands of the wide receivers. Keep calling some of these quarterback draws. I actually like that. Change the speed up, especially for the running game. And then the running game will come.
Yeah, I think Holman needs to take off and run with it whenever he can as well. Use his athleticism.
Use our wide receiver athleticism. That's what I'm really wanting to key on this week against Houston. Houston isn't a very good defensive team. They lost to, Texas. They got owned by Texas San Antonio, who has a really good offensive line. Texas San Antonio just lost to FAU, and FAU smashed Tulsa, so, that game doesn't really make any sense. But Houston doesn't have a very good defense. We can put them on their heels. They don't have a running game. And even if we do go down early against Houston, they can't close people out because they can't run the ball. They can't eat the clock.
Last week against UNLV, the Houston Cougars ran for 399 rushing yards.
They don't have against UNLV. You know who could run for 150 yards right now? If I don't have a heart attack, I could run for 150 yards on UNLV.
Okay. Well, we will see.
Then defensive
we
side
will definitely
of the ball.
see. Defensive, they have 9 sacks. They've only given up 7. The Cougars have committed 10 turnovers, but have forced 13.
Why have they turned the ball over so much?
Because they can't hold on to it.
Well said. O'Korn actually, once he gets any type of pressure, he has a very good wide receiving core, and he's a pretty good quarterback.
He has 6 touchdowns and 6 picks.
When he gets pressure, he chucks the ball up. He doesn't like getting hit.
Yeah.
He wishes he was wearing.
He's a big guy too, so you would think that he would be able to handle that a little bit.
Hey,
better.
there's some big softies out there.
Yeah, well, he's definitely a big softie.
So when he feels pressure, he gets rid of the ball, hoping and expecting his receiving core to bail him out. So there you go with the defensive side of the ball. Our defensive line, it's imperative we get pressure, but it's also imperative that our secondary don't give them such a bubble.
Yeah.
The yards after the catch is a huge staple of Houston's offense, as well as the long ball. They have a lot of talented wide receivers. We were very fortunate that they had dropped the game-winning touchdown last season. So our defensive line and our secondary, our linebackers are going to show up. We need to be able to contain them in the secondary and help out our defensive line, just like we have to help out our offensive line.
Yeah. Well, yeah, the defensive linemen, as far as I'm concerned, really need to get a push, and they need to get to O'Korn and put him on his butt. They need to have pressure on the quarterback, pressure on the quarterback, pressure on the quarterback. That's it. That's what we need.
That's what wins games.
That's what wins games.
That's what causes turnovers. That's what gives you a short field to play with when you're on your drives, to put more points on the board. Pressure on the quarterback wins games. Alleviating pressure on your own quarterback wins games.
Speaking of Houston, now we will do a little bit of our preview of the Houston matchup, even though we did quite a bit of it right there in Kurt's question. We kind of put it together.
Nice segue, Kurt.
Yeah, so the UCF Knights have notched a victory in 4 consecutive conference openers. The Knights have claimed 9 straight wins in regular season league games.
We've yet to lose in the American.
Well, that's true. We haven't lost a...
So I like where we're going with that.
It's a good one, man. That's good. That's definitely a good thing. All right.
The last time we were at Houston, we went in 140-33 against a ranked Houston squad.
Yeah, and the last time that Houston came here, we won pretty much at the last minute, last second, because this dude that seems to think that we're not very good, and we weren't very good last year, and it's totally going to be a blowout, he says, and, we're not going to score any points.
This reminds me of Charlie Strong last year.
This guy is a total freaking jerk. Well, and I don't know who he is. I do know who he is. I don't know his name because I don't really care. But he's the guy that dropped the pass in the end zone where they could have won the game. But because of his mistake, they lost the game. But he wants to talk about how bad our team was.
So let me get this straight. If we're not that good of a team and you lost to us, what does that make you?
Yeah. It's
And by the way, thank you very much for the bulletin board material. Yes, Terrence Plummer responded, he towed the company line, as I mentioned that statement earlier, that, they talk with the shoulder pads because that's what George O'Leary wants, his leaders to say, that they don't want to get involved in a media fight. They'd rather rather do it on the field, and you expect that from a UCF team. So why are you going to fire up UCF? Why are you going to look for them to really target you?
Yeah, it's great. I think that's wonderful that they did that. That was the best thing that they could have done.
Well, the best thing he could do is drop another touchdown pass.
Well, he probably will. He probably has. I haven't necessarily watched his career, but
the career's and touchdown pass by Blake Bortles.
Touchdown. Oh, there's a flag on it.
It happens.
Yeah. Hopefully that's a good one.
And we got to say that plenty last year, and especially against Houston grabbing the victory. Brand new stadium for them. Tedesco Field, terrible name for the sponsorship. They were really looking forward to.
I'm not even going to go there. I could go there with that, but
go for it. I don't mind.
No. I'm not going to.
You were really looking forward to UCF coming in. They're really playing it up in preseason. It's a big game. In their first season, and their attendance is dropping off. Not as bad as USF's attendance, but I really do expect them to pack the house against UCF. We're probably the marquee opponent name-wise coming in this season, and I don't know their schedule, and I probably should. I get lazy. But
well, in the last so far their stats this year, O'Korn is 77 for 146 and 846 yards, 6 touchdowns, 6 interceptions. So he has a pretty good quarterback rating, 106.8. Their leading rusher is Kenneth Farrow, and he has 37 carries for 271 yards, which really, and only 2 touchdowns, which really isn't that impressive.
Well, it's made
Who's
impressive against UNLV.
Was it Spencer that was the?
No, one up.
Greenberry was he the guy? Dante Greenberry, that's the guy's name.
That's the wanker.
He has 18 receptions for 297 yards, an average of 16.5 yards, and his longest being 67 yards, with 2 touchdowns. Let's just
he's
say,
talented. I've seen him play several times. Not that I followed his career, but
yeah,
he's got some ability, but he doesn't have the ability to shut up.
Yeah, I say targeting. Anyway. Just a headshot, get the guy out of there. Hopefully, maybe Plummer can
No. Get some all right. For one, no, you don't do that on purpose. 2,
I know that.
Get a 4-string kid to come in there.
That's what I'm saying.
Hit him.
No, yeah, not Plummer for sure, but somebody.
Come on, if you're going to be, malicious, be malicious and intelligent.
How about we get what's his name to come in there and who was our kicker last Rodrigo Corte. Let's get him to come in and do a targeting because we got Moffitt. We're good.
All right.
We have 7 kickers on this team?
We have a few. We have 3.
We can do it.
And
send a kicker in there.
And
hit him. Just you don't even have to do it hard. Just go up there and headbutt him. That'll be targeting in this
because
league.
Soccer players are so damn tough.
Yeah, well, in the NCAA anyway, this targeting thing is ridiculous, and especially, whatever.
All right. A little off topic. We apologize. Last week we talked about Corte was a sophomore. He is not.
He's a senior. Actually,
he's a senior.
Yeah.
It helps if we read the roster better.
Yeah.
Andrew actually prints up the roster for me every week.
Was it you or was I thought it was?
It was a combo deal.
Okay,
we both talked about it. So we apologize. Rodrigo, you're a senior. Well done. You've earned it.
And I don't want you to get kicked out of the game. I just,
No, he really does.
I just want this guy out of the game.
However,
I want this guy to have a concussion.
He'll be happy to buy you. He's a senior, so he can drink a beer with us.
Absolutely. Rodrigo, I will buy you a beer if I ever have the chance to drink beers with you. It'll all be good.
Targeting.
Yeah.
Man, we're terrible. I mean, to suggest this is Texas Tech fan type behavior.
Hey, well, I'm just playing. I don't want anybody to get hurt. Except maybe, well, no.
I just want to shut him down.
Joking.
Shut him down.
Just joking, yeah. So we need to get one of our defensive backs on him. And
Jacoby Glenn.
Jacoby Glenn would be perfect.
Be on him like a homeless guy and a free hooker.
Yeah. Oh, God. Yep, that would be a good one. I don't want to see that during a football game, though, personally.
No, it's a metaphor.
I know.
Metaphor, not a literal
I have a very
translation.
visual memory, or not memory, but mind, so that was bad. Okay, well,
So, prediction. Right now, I'm winning. Only because we lost. Oh, I hate the fact that I'm winning on a technicality.
yeah, I won last week. You won the first week.
Well, we've tied for 2.
Hey, wow, look, it's time to go.
That's awesome. All right. I have UCF 30-23.
UCF by 14. I don't know what that's going to be. But UCF by 14. All right, guys, we'll see you next week. This is Andrew Phegley. This has been episode number 10, and to my left here,
Troy Ondrizek, thank you for listening.
See ya.
Shot.